Can we blame our institution for not upholding the things that will ensure that people do the right thing?
Of course, it's because when you do it, you are able to get away with it. When I also am able to get away with it, the next person will feel if Black can do it, if A can do it, B can do it, maybe I can do it too and get away with it. And before you know it, it's a normal thing. It will become a normal thing. You get that people can now do and get away with it. Look at the fraud boys, for example, better known as Yahoo boys. You get, when I was growing up back in the early 90s, late 80s, you are a bad example. They used to call it 419 then. There's nothing like Yahoo boys. They used to call it 419 then. And in 91, 92, they would tell you at primary school then, they would tell you that you should read your books, home economics, social science, math, English, so you don't be that 419 bros, that Egmont that is making money as a 419, as a fraudster. Bad example. Now they are like role models because they can get away with it. That's the point I'm trying to make. So if they can do it, they are glorified, they are being celebrated, and they often get away with different financial crimes. Now you want to grow up and do it, the next person will want to do it also. I think that's the major issue, because people are doing it, people are getting away with it. So I think that's it.
So I'd like to link this now to the judiciary.
Okay.
Now our judiciary has been designed, was set up to handle issues like this, to ensure that justice is being served, to err people on the side of caution, and to ensure that whoever, breaks the edge, the serpent will bite, as it is said. Because if you have a law, it means that you should uphold the law. So does that mean our judicial systems and institutions is not strong enough to handle this? Because when we talk about fraud, we also see it at the upper level, at the federal level,
of course,
beyond our normal immediate life cycle.
Of course.
We see at the upper level where people just get away with corruption. It's obvious that this person did something sort of that we can term as a corrupt act, but it seems to get away and in fact being celebrated. Now, does that mean that our judiciary in Nigeria is not doing its role?
The beautiful thing about judiciary, about laws in Nigeria, is that where you think you've locked it, there's another law that will open it for you. You get, it's just a matter of if you are paying your lawyers right to find that flaw, to find that clause that will help you get away with things. You get, the point I'm trying to make is, if our law is strict on corruption, financial crimes and all that stuff, if it is strict enough, if there is no loose end, there won't be room for lawyers to tamper with this thing, make people, even at our politicians, our leaders, the executive and all that, to get away with financial crimes. You get, but it is because they know that there is always a law. Let me give you an example of plea bargaining. There is a plea bargaining that allows you to steal as much money as you can, and you get a plea bargain. There's presidential pardon that allows you to steal as much as possible. Then you get the presidential pardon. If I am allowed to mention names, look at Jolly Yame,
we saw that
at Joshua Dariye, and many more. I can go on and mention name of former governors, politicians that already benefited from this plea bargain and presidential pardon and all of that stuff. Look at what happened with Fani Kayode, the former aviation minister. I can go on and on. I can, in fact, I can spend the whole day naming names of politicians, public holders that in one way or the other benefited from this plea bargain and presidential pardon, which is not illegal. You get, plea bargain is not illegal, presidential pardon is not illegal. So the point I'm trying to make is there are laws that allows these two. That's the dynamic of our law in Nigeria. It's not strict enough. You get to make sure that once you do this thing and you're found guilty, there's an investigation that confirms it, that you are guilty of it, you should serve a punishment. There shouldn't be a backdoor. But because we are all aware that there is backdoor, there are loose ends to this thing, people get away with it.
That on one side, we'll still get to that. Now, talking about the national issue that we have to solve before we get there, corruption is one major issue we have in our country, and this corruption is something that most democratic government in their campaigns will campaign with. We will come, we'll fight corruption, especially this current administration. They specifically told us that he's a minister, no-nonsense person. He will fight corruption. But in the 8 years, I think we can all agree that corruption has not died, has not reduced. If we can say it has increased, what's the way forward as solving the issue of corruption?
I think corruption is relative. It's relative in the sense that what you will regard as corruption depends on the people involved. I might not see it that way. You get, if you are my person, you get. I might say, well, it's not corruption, it's just trying paddy kind of thing. So corruption is relative. If you are looking at the 2014 manifesto of President Buhari, and inside that manifesto, there's this a long paragraph about fighting corruption, that, we are here in Nigeria because of corruption, but here we are 7.5 years after, we are still battling corruption in different sectors, different MDAs, you get. And it is not about the corruption itself, it's about the people involved in the corruption. So if you are someone that can be overlooked for, then you'll be exposed, you get. If it is someone that they can look the other side for you, then you won't be exposed, you get. And I can give examples of this, what some people will do and they won't get away with it, some people will get away with it, different allegations, you get. Something as something something as fake certificate, you get. You see what happened to Kemi Adeosun. You see similar thing, or should I say almost the same thing, happened to Barrister Adebayo Shitu. We know where Kemi Adeosun is right now, you get, and we know what happened to Barrister Shitu, you get. Barrister Shitu finished his tenure as the minister for the first 4 years of President Buhari as a minister, but Kemi Adeosun didn't even use up to 2 years. They both had the same case of certificate forgery, certificates, whatever word you want to use for it. But you see, I'm just using a clear example of what you would define as corruption. And there are corruptions that involves money also. You remember the MPA boss, Ajay Adiza.
So the NDDC one too?
Yes, so I can go on and on. I'm very sorry. This is what I do. So I am full of examples comparing the present with the past. That's how I do my analysis. So I can go on and on with Ajay Adiza, the former MPA boss. You see what happened to her. Then the new MPA boss that came in after her. You see what also happened. Something similar, but they let go of one, they sustained one, you get. So something like this. So corruption is just a matter of the people involved. That's why I said corruption is relative. What you will say is a corruption, I might say no, it's not corruption.
But at the national level, is it corruption? All of those things you just mentioned.
Of course, they are corruption. You know the symbol of when you go to court, you know that symbol, that statue in front of Odin's sword and scale with the blindfold, you get. The meaning of that blindfold in law is that I'm not seeing you regardless of who you are. I'm holding sword as punishment and I'm holding balance, you get. That's the meaning of that symbol. So the blindfold means I don't know who you are. If you are tall, if you are short, if you are light skinned, whatever it is you are, whatever it is you look like, I don't see you. That's the meaning, that justice shouldn't see who you are, your status, you get. If you are involved in corruption, it shouldn't matter your relationship with the who is who of Nigeria, or who you are, or your position, your political reference or status, you get. That's how it should be, regardless.
I'm trying to build a connection right now. So we know started off with the institution. You made mention of people, the institution, and let's not forget that the people make up the institution. Can we all agree to that?
Of course.
That people make up the institution, and we need the institution to uphold justice, to ensure that law is being served. So which means that looking at the examples I'll give you now has created a complex, my friend would call it a complex compound problem, where you have the people that make up the institution, but the institution itself cannot take care of itself because the institution now needs another institution to check it. And that institution also has its own people that also have a problem in it, that's to check it. So what creates the balance in all of this?
Man, because once there is an institution and there is also another institution to check that institution, and unfortunately that institution that's supposed to check the institution is also being checked. I mean, it's a ripple effect. The corruption will just keep lingering on and on like that. For example, let's look at the police, the police in Nigeria as an example. A lot of people will tell you that police in Nigeria, there is a lot of corruption going on in police, in Nigerian police sector, but there is police commission. Police commission is not actually part of Nigerian police force. Police commission is supposed to be independent to checkmate what is going on in police force. Well, they don't call them force anymore. But now there is another problem with police commission. People are now suggesting that there should be another body to checkmate the police commission also, because there are some things going on in police commission that is not fine. So now we have the police that is supposed to check the police being checked by another police also. So it's a ripple effect. Then at some point we have to have another police for that one also. It doesn't make any sense. We can't continue like that. The only solution I can suggest is if we have a standard policy, standard regulation, and a strict one, there won't